Right now, everyone is talking about one open-world game, NTE. And after spending a full week with it, I can tell you this is not what I expected from an anime RPG at all. You've got a full urban world, vehicles, a working police system, and way more freedom than you'd expect. But here's the real question. Does it actually live up to the hype? Well, in this video, I'm breaking down what makes this game so fun and how much there really is to do. And trust me, you don't want to miss the end. I'll share a few tips and tricks that'll save you a lot of time early on, so let's begin. Let's start with the open world, because this is honestly the strongest part of the game. NTE gives you 5 massive city districts to explore, and each one actually feels different, from busy downtown areas to amusement parks, school campuses, mountain trails, and even country landscapes. What I really liked is that it doesn't feel like a map designed just for missions. It feels like a city you're actually living in. Like there's always something happening. Traffic, NPCs, small details, and that's what makes it feel alive. At one point, I completely ignored the main story and just started roaming around. And honestly, it didn't feel boring at all. And one thing I didn't expect is how the world reacts to what I do. If I start causing chaos, like stealing cars or messing around, the police system kicks in. The more trouble I create, the more intense the chase gets. And yes, I actually got caught and ended up in jail. It's not just a cutscene either. I spent time there as a prisoner, doing small jobs in different activities. The best part is, you're not stuck. You can either leave by paying a penalty, or try a jailbreak, which honestly felt really fun. Now, talking about the story, I'll keep this spoiler-free. The game is set in a modern city with a supernatural lair, where anomalies affect the world. As I'm playing, I'm uncovering what's happening while meeting different characters along the way. What I liked is that the story doesn't feel forced. I can focus on exploration, and the narrative builds naturally in the background. Some missions even change the vibe completely, which keeps things interesting. For me, the story supports the overall experience rather than being the main focus. But once I stopped just roaming and actually started interacting with the world, that's where things really opened up. The game gives you multiple ways to play. I can go fully solo and follow the story, or jump into multiplayer racing, which honestly feels like a completely different mode. And one thing I genuinely liked is how flexible exploration feels. I can switch between first person and third person anytime. If I want immersion, I go first person. If I want better control, I switch back. And honestly, first person feels very immersive, especially while driving. Sitting inside the car and moving through the city just feels different. Movement is also really smooth. I can climb and run across walls without worrying about stamina, so exploration never feels restrictive. There are also small things scattered across the map, like collecting birds, which gives you a reason to explore every corner. And on top of that, there are anomalies spread across the world, unique encounters and stages that keep things interesting. So I'm not just doing one thing, I'm constantly switching between activities. And it's not just about what's already here. There's more content coming too, like the Porsche collaboration with custom vehicles, racing suits, and even its own building. So it doesn't feel like a one-time experience, it feels like something that'll keep growing. When I first started playing NTE, the combat honestly felt pretty simple. Basic attacks, skills, and ultimates. Nothing too complicated at first. But the more I played, the more I realized there's actually a lot going on underneath. The biggest difference for me was how smoothly you can switch between characters, because instead of relying on just one, you're constantly rotating your team to create combos. That's where the whole system starts to feel deeper, especially with the synergy between characters. Once I started to understand how abilities connect and how timing matters, combat became much more satisfying instead of just spamming buttons. Dodging and positioning also play a big role. If you mistime a dodge, you'll definitely feel it, especially against stronger enemies. And when it comes to boss fights, that's where the combat really shines. Bosses aren't just there to soak damage. They actually force you to pay attention, learn patterns, and react properly. There were definitely moments where I had to slow down, watch their attack animations, and wait for the right moment to strike instead of just rushing in. At first, I really thought the combat was just decent, but after spending more time with it, especially in tougher fights, it started to feel more skill-based and engaging. It's not something that instantly clicks, but once it does, it definitely adds a lot to the overall experience. Now, progression is where NTE really starts opening up, and I'll be honest, at first it feels like there's a lot going on, but once I spend some time with it, it actually started to feel pretty rewarding. The game is designed in a way where I'm constantly unlocking something, whether it's new characters, outfits, or systems. Just by playing, I'm getting access to multiple rewards, including a free S-Class character like Shiz, and even a bunch of outfits along the way. And what I liked is that it doesn't feel overly grindy. The system feels more transparent, especially with how the gacha works. I know what I'm working toward instead of just relying on luck. On top of that, version 1.0 adds even more content, including a new character, Nanali, with her own abilities and playstyle. For example, Nanali can actually climb walls, which makes exploration smoother. There are also new weapons, vehicles, and even more ways to customize your experience, so progression isn't just about leveling up, it's about expanding how you play the game. And then there's the Tycoon system, which is honestly one of the most unique parts. I can manage businesses, earn passive income, and build my own economy over time. It almost feels like a Monopoly-style system inside the game, where I'm investing, earning, and growing steadily. So yeah, there's definitely depth here, but once it clicks, progression feels less like a grind and more like something I'm naturally building over time. Now visually, NTE looks really clean, but what stood out to me is not just the graphics, it's how the whole world feels. But the real immersion comes from the tiny details. When rainwater gathers on the road, the reflections look insanely good. It gives the whole environment this cozy vibe. And small touches like when a train or vehicles pass by, cherry blossom petals lift into the air. It just shows how much attention they've put into the world. These aren't just visuals, they make the city feel alive, like you're actually part of it. There were moments where I just slowed down while driving just to take in how the environment looks. The day-night cycle also makes a big difference. Exploring the same area at different times actually changes the mood. And because the city is detailed, with buildings you can explore, NPCs around, and small environmental touches, it doesn't feel empty. Physics-wise, it's not trying to be ultra-realistic, but it's good enough to make movement feel natural. Driving feels smooth, movement feels responsive, and combined with the visuals, it just makes the overall experience more enjoyable. Now, talking about performance, this is something I paid close attention to. The game is available across multiple platforms, including PC, mobile, and console. From my experience, it runs smoothly on both my mobile and my tablet, which is a really good surprise. On higher settings, the game looks great, but it can be demanding on lower-end devices. The good thing is there are enough settings to adjust performance. With version 1.0, there are also optimizations and quality of life improvements which help with stability. So overall, you can balance visuals and performance based on your device. Now, before I wrap this up, there are a few things I learned that can really help you early on. First of all, don't rush. The game throws a lot of systems at you early on, so taking a little time to understand them makes everything much smoother. I also focused on building one strong team instead of upgrading everything, which makes progression way easier. In combat, switching characters properly is key. Once I started doing that instead of sticking to one, fights felt much more controlled. Also, don't just spam attacks. Learning enemy patterns and timing your dodges makes a huge difference, especially in tougher fights. When it comes to exploration, try to be a bit smart instead of just running around randomly, because there are a lot of hidden rewards, anomalies, and activities spread across the map. Vehicles are actually very useful too. I use them a lot to save time while moving around the city. One important thing, don't waste your premium currency early on. Saving it helped me get better characters later. Even short daily sessions help, so consistency matters more than long grinding. And finally, don't ignore side systems like the Tycoon system or anomaly activity because they actually give really good rewards. But overall, the biggest tip I can give is don't treat this like a speedrun game. Take your time, explore properly, and that's when the game actually becomes fun. So overall, after spending time with NTE, I'd say this is a really fun open-world experience. It's not just about combat, it's about exploring the city, trying different activities, and just enjoying the world at your own pace. And considering this is a free-to-play game, there's actually a lot of content here right from the start. With everything added in version 1.0, new characters, vehicles, activities, and optimizations, it feels like a pretty complete experience. Honestly, it's not perfect, but it is a really enjoyable experience overall. And the biggest thing for me is, the game is just fun to play. Plus, with cross-platform support and all the rewards you get early on, it's really easy to just jump in and try it for yourself. The link is in the description and pinned comment. Go download NTE and try it out, and let me know what you think after playing.